Hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is an update of the HPS watch list, and basically a watch list going into the week of, what are we up? I'm on vacation right now, so I guess it's going to be the week of July 8th. I'm returning next week, so I should be back in the office on Wednesday. But to get you prepared, and there's some really good setups for tomorrow, Friday, which is going to be a very light volume day. And early next week, I'll get a kick start off here, or kick it off. A lot of good setups, and it's hard to, again, even though I'm on vacation, it's hard to not pay attention to the markets. Doing a little trading out here. I took some Apple off. We had a good trade in Apple this week, so I took that off, and I'm just keeping tabs on the market, and I want to do a little review on this, and just wish everyone a happy 4th of July. And let's get into this. We see that the S&P 500 here is still holding strength, and this is interesting because we have a positive setup here on the daily stochastics, which are still pointing up. Pullback, which looks like just a good healthy pullback in the market. The recent flush here, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, why that was caused in the markets, and we could see the bounce back right now. Now we've been consolidating for the last couple of days. Due mostly probably holiday session, lighter volume, a lot of consolidation. But again, I always say refer back to that 60-minute chart, and you'll start to see a little better indications of what might be happening here. And again, I go out on the 60-minute chart, and you can see a classic 1-2-3 pattern starting. Get a little rotation back down and a little push back up, and everything looks pretty good, pretty healthy going into Friday, which pretty much is going to be a scratch day. But not much is going to be happening, so I wouldn't look for too much. Lots of times these light volume holiday sessions tend to kind of float up. So, that's not out of the question. I actually see a little move up here into that session tomorrow on Friday. But going into next week, again, I called for, a move back above 1600s. We're at 1615 right now. And I could easily see this market pushing back up to new highs. Not out of the question at all. There's some great setups out there, and I always like to say that, as a technical trader, you look at the underlying stocks in the market, and if these stocks are typically setting up as a very bullish setup, then you got to see that the market typically is going to it's going to react from those setups in the market. So the underlying heavily weighted stocks in the different indexes, the Dow component, the S&P, the NASDAQ. We have a lot of good setups on that. But I have a couple of new ones for you. I want to go over in a review of the HPS watch list, and it's going to be a fast video. Of course, I can see the horses from where I'm sitting. It's very nice out here in Oregon. But like I said, can't wait to get back and and kick things off again. So a couple stocks I want to just review. Let's first of all take a look at the HPS watch list one more time and kind of catch us up to date on what we're looking at here. All right, so we can see that we have some pretty, some setups that already triggered, and we have a lot of them that are already watching, which are great because going into this last watch list, I really made a point of bringing you some quality setups, strictly using the HPS methodology, and really outlining some good setups that, if they come down to these levels, they're excellent setups. So I want to review those because they are getting closer, and some of them became so close that if you took the trade, you already made some money in them. And then I have some new ones to add to the list. So let's just go back here and take a look at Marathon Oil, which is, I was doing some research today, and I was looking at Marathon Oil. I said, let me get it. And I realized I already had it on the list. And, that's great when you start to see something. So this is the last setup on Marathon Oil. We talked about this recognizable channel. And whenever we have that 200 period moving average going through this channel, I always look for that breakdown of the 200 period moving average and a bounce off of an invisible trend line based off of 1-2-3 patterns. It's one of the best setups out there. I'm going to actually do a cheat sheet on it. I call it the 200 breakdown underlying trend line bounce, and there's a lot of these setups here setting up across the market, and you can see them how they work. They're classic, and I did a lot of I showed some good examples on that on the last watch list. So if you want to go back and look at that last watch list, you'll see some examples of it. But we could take a look at last week and see how the setup, and you can see we actually started moving back down into this level, and we kind of had a nice reversal candlestick on what is, well, again, with the holiday session and stuff, we had a nice reversal candle on Wednesday, and today is 4th of July. So we didn't really get into our buy zone, but we got very close to it. And this candlestick actually might hold up. We might move back up here. So I like Maritime Patrol. I love the pattern here. If we get down to this lower trend line, I would take it off that lower trend line. I'd rather have that lower trend line set up for us. You know, that's just one thing I typically wait for if I see it. It's hard to sometimes chase it if you see that reversal candlestick. Not all, you know, it doesn't mean that we need to set up and tag this lower trend line just because it's there. It doesn't mean we need to set up and hit it. This 200 period moving average is a strong technical level. So if we chop around here and start moving back up, you know, that's just what might happen. But again, a great setup, and this is still active. So when you do get that pullback here to this level, if we do get it, you'll get alerted to it, and it'll be a great setup. And I'll actually take that trade too. All right, here we have Freeport McMoran, gold and copper stock. Of course, you know that gold has been creamed over the last, God, I don't even know how long, months. A lot of these stocks following the thing, but definitely a recognizable channel here and worth taking off this level. I already started a small position on this, and small, I'm talking 40 shares. And it's already working out. It's starting to push back up, and let's just take a look at how this one's playing out. You could actually see that we bounced up here, kind of pulled back a little. We never got back down to the lower trend line here. So if this is still active, still in the alert process, meaning if we do come down to the lower trend line, should be an awesome setup. I don't know if it's going to happen again. You know, we have some very powerful patterns playing out in this market. So that's why I started, scaling in small down this level, because I do feel that this is a good level down here. And if you scale in small enough and it gets down to this level, then there's no real risk in it. So still active, still looking very nice on this one. We're just going to jump to the next one. I'm not going to pause it. PSX, Phillips 66. All right, you can see Phillips 66 here. Stock that, I've traded before. And again, classic 1, 2, 3 pattern. 200 period moving average, and again, this went out last week, so we're going to just kind of check up on these levels. I said, watch this 200 period moving average, probably a very good level. If we come down into that lower trend line, awesome level. Click on this, you can see we came right down. Look at that candlestick. That candlestick spiked down through the 200, almost came into that buy zone, reversed, big powerful reversal candle. And again, a lot of these reversals played out. When you look back at a chart and you look back at certain areas that represent major pivots, they're usually defined by a good candlestick, and this is a good candlestick. You can see this pullback, nice green candle here, big tail over here, nice pullback. So I'm feeling this is actually going to lead up to something. Again, we might not even get to that lower trend line. The alert is still active, and which is good because it just kind of gives you a heads up if you do get that trade, you're not paying attention to it. And we continue on here. Let's go to, that was Phillips 6. PKG already hit. Another great company. This is a really nice a flag. And again, these are based off the 60-minute candles or 60-minute time frame. And what was really good about last week's watch list is I gave you a couple multiple setups on the same stock, meaning perfect flags. If we broke out, it would be a breakout play. But if we didn't break out and pull back to the lower trend line, you have that opportunity too. So in this case, this one actually broke out of the flag, hit our profit target, and then kind of pulled back. But a good profit on that, good bounce on that. It was a good trade. And now this still activated. This is still active down here for whatever reason. It's still in the alert. It's what I call alerted buy entry zone. I don't expect it to come down here, but if it ended up coming down to this level, you'd be alerted to it. All right, PKG, and you'll see that the PKG has another one here. And it says watching. It's basically the same chart, but it hasn't activated because it's based off of those lower price levels. Fairway market, banging the table on this one. Great setup. Again, I have some good notes on here. This is a recent IPO. I've been doing a lot of research on this company. It has a very powerful pattern. Just very similar to the Dunkin' Donuts formation, flag formation that continues to flag out on its way up. So let's just take a look at Dunkin' Donuts. I've reviewed this already at DNKN, and let's take a look at that daily. Now, you can see I don't have my my office charts here. So a lot of my office charts I already mapped out all the flags and stuff, which are already saved on my charts. So out here, I'm working off of this laptop, and I have to really just kind of write things in as I'm going. But basically, you can see these flags. Here's a move up here, a flag out, a push higher, flag out, a push higher. Beautiful flag here back to the 50, a push higher, little flag. And this is something that you see in a young stock like this. So now we take a look at fairway markets, and let me just get this set up here correctly. Come on. And here, look at this. This is when I sent out this alert. This was just coming back to that 50-period moving average or 20-period moving average right here. And you can see the flag here, breakout, the flag here where we sent out the alert. Boom. What a great setup here. And it just continues to move higher. And I expect this one to continue to move higher. Sky's the limit on this one. Not going to predict where it's going to go, but I can tell you one thing. It is a nice setup. This is based off the 60-minute chart. Buy trigger 2440 to 24 profit 26 plus. Take a look at this. Boom. Broke right out. Hit our profit zone. And, trade finished on that one. There is a lower target or a lower target area. Alert area in case it comes down to that price. So let's take a look at Monsanto. Monsanto is one of those setups where you have a 200-period moving average, breakdown, underlying trend line. And I just want to, this is one of the classic ones. I like this. I ended up jumping in the room, was it Tuesday? Tuesday, I think it was, and picking up a little Monsanto. I like the Monsanto. I like the 200-period moving average. I like the underlying trend line. And you can see we didn't trigger the alert, but for me, again, it was worth just starting to scale in here because I'm not going to be focused on the market so much, but a small position down here, knowing that this is a good quality stock that's recently gotten a hit, hanging around the 200-period moving average. If we get down to the lower trend line, you have a golden 1, 2, 3 pattern, but hanging around the 200 looks great down here. Absolutely fantastic. One of my favorites going forward, Monsanto. And then we're just going to take a look at, all right, there's the other one, the fairway market. RNF is an older one. I don't really like it too much. And the Qualcomm, again, there's a lot of levels here on Qualcomm. It's very, there's a lot of lines here. And again, that tends to be something that Qualcomm, you expect Qualcomm to be a high performer. You have an underlying channel support. You have a couple trend lines underneath us. This level here is that's why I made it a big level, a big area. I figured that we're going to chop around this level a lot. And you can see we actually came down to the buy zone. We popped back up. We didn't get to the profit zone. We pushed back down to the buy zone. We popped back up, got very close, 5 cents away from the profit zone, then kind of chopped back down, and we're just hanging around here. I'm not really big into the Qualcomm trade. But it's still active. I think there's much better trades out there, and I'm going to give you a couple right now, some awesome trades. A little 4th of July present for you right now. So let's take a look at some new setups on the HPS watch list. All right, so you take a look at Agilent here, symbol A, and we took this off before I went on vacation just because it was going up against this trend line. It was the right thing to do, but this still is a very powerful flag here, holding that 200-period moving average. We are positive on this daily stochastic. Pay attention to this one. Okay, not holding anything in it now, but I Want to pay attention to it. I think we're going to focus on a little bit more next week, especially if we break back up above this trend line, which will really break us back above the 20 and 50 period moving average. I think the combination of all those things together will really kind of straighten these moving averages back up. We get a nice breakout, and I think we'll be it'll be very positive for the stock. So right now, probably going to end up putting this back on the watch list into next week. And I'd pay attention to that 43.90, 43.85 level, 43.85 to 43.90, 43.85 to 43.90. I have to write that down. And yeah, definitely want to pay attention to that as a good breakout on that setup. Now, that's not one of the great ones here. Just going back, I have some notes here that I was doing recently, so I wanted to just review some of those notes. Apple was a fantastic setup last week, and I know a lot of people were wondering, like, oh, I was saying, here's one that's going to surprise you. I'm getting into Apple, and I got into Apple pretty good. We got into about 395.18 to be exact. And the reason it was a multiple time frame setup. There was a lot of negativity. We just got very close to that 385. And a lot of people pay attention to, when people pay attention to a big level, it becomes such a level that doesn't happen. It's just like, all right, people missed the boat on that. It's too obvious that the 385 exactly was going to hit. So we actually came down to maybe 387, 388. And it started pushing back up. And, we had the daily set up. We had the 60 set up. We had some other things that were set up on it. And it just looked like a good risk-reward trade. There was just so much negativity in Apple. So much. It was worth it went up 20 points, 25 points. Popping. It was a good trade. Only had 10 shares. But, great setup. And I think Apple actually... is going to be we're going to be able to trade Apple. I think Apple's actually going to head back up here, probably up here another 10, 20 points. I mean, I don't think that's out of the question. There's a nice little channel here that's starting to develop. And again, I'm not going to be focused on it until I get back, but I'd pay attention to this channel between that 450, we'll call it probably 460, and that 385. I would probably take advantage of any pullback in Apple to try to take that trade again. But that's, something that's passed and a great setup. Eli Lilly, like it a lot down here. It's another setup which we broke down under the 200 period moving average. And when you have a breakdown in the 200 period moving average, you like to buy that invisible trend line underneath it. In this case, there really wasn't too much of one. But we did get a nice bounce. Let's actually take a look at some of these. This is a pretty tight channel line right here. You can see the channel. It's not a perfect channel, but sometimes you get into things. You want to get the correct combination of indicators lining up. Sometimes you might see a channel might not look like a channel. If you don't feel super confident in it, then sometimes it's either better to just let that perfect setup come to you. Have the discipline to wait for that to come to you, or scale in a smaller amount of shares so you don't make a big mistake. In this case, Eli Lilly, definitely on the focus list going into next week. But let's take a look at some really nice ones here. Here's a new one for you. CF Industries. Double bottom. Very powerful pattern. Tried to get, it was funny. I saw this on my chart. I was looking at it. I was doing some scans, and I was like, oh, what time is it out here? It's like, I'm trying to calculate 3-hour difference. Is the market closed now? By the time I got to the computer, the market was closed. So I wasn't able to get that entry here on CF on Wednesday. And so Friday, I'm definitely interested in this. Now, this is a type of stock I like. $100 price, in the hundreds. A big technical level, double bottom. Oversold on the daily. I mean, the 60-minute chart, let's take a fast look at it. Just getting overbought. So, I mean, it's a classic example of a multiple time frame. The daily 60, 15, 5 all set up here. Back here in that 169 level. We already got a bounce. We're already getting overbought on the 60-minute chart. So, again, something to watch. I wouldn't mind scaling in here. Would not mind scaling in small. on any type of pullback here. The double bottom on this one looks great. It's definitely something I want to get on the HPS setups. We already had a good impressive bounce off a double bottom, and we're just starting to turn back up here. So again, CF Industries definitely looks good going into the next thing. DLTR was a good had great strength over the last month. Did not break down at all. We consolidated. Made a lot of sense that it ripped out higher and it continues to push higher. Just want to bring that to your attention. And MasterCard going into next week. Probably one of the best setups. If this market does decide to move higher, I expect MasterCard to break out and make all new highs. So a good stock to trade with options because of the price range here. $600 above us on this one. It just looks, the stochastics very bullish right now on the daily. 3-day consolidation holding above the 20-period moving average in this market environment. Very powerful, very strong stock, MasterCard. One of the key ones going into it. And here's another one that deserves to be on the HPS watch list. It is Costco. And this is Costco, let me see if I could actually show you this 1, 2, 3 pattern. Oh, come on, let me fix this. Again, I'm working with this laptop and I don't have my mouse available, but what I did was, I'm going to have another one too. I have another good setup for you. Where is it? Where's my delete button here? Just put in a 1, 2, 3 channel line here, and I do expect this one to move higher. It's another good stock. It's been chopping around the 110 level. You can see the recent pullback, choppy. It's holding up pretty good. I like this. I like it a lot. I thought I had a better. I thought I worked on this chart. It might be on another charting thing here. But Costco definitely set up. But that's not the one I was really excited about. There's two other that I'm really excited about. Clorox CLX. Here we go. This is it. Clorox CLX. Beautiful flag. You have the 200-period moving average. I'm going to get rid of some of these lines here. Here's an underlying trend line here, just based off of this recent pivot area. But let's get rid of that and just take a look at this pivot area down here and this recognizable trend line on top. I put in a potential coil stochastic setup. You can see we have a lower high here on the stochastics, and we seem to be turning over. Best case scenario, we turn back over. We kind of embed down here. This comes down right under the 200-period moving average and tags this lower trend line, which represents this pivot area back here. It sets us up into a perfect trade. So right now, just because I'm out here and I'm just trying to give you an update, I put on your alerts to watch that $80 level down to that $78 level. It's a two-point level there. I pay attention to it. I'm going to try to set it up for you on the HPS setups so you get the alerts. Watch that 200-period moving average too. Quality name, Clorox CLX. Good possible coil stochastic. A setup where one of the better setups is where we talk about the breakdown of the 200 and the underlying trend line. This would be the best bet if we actually got down to this level. If we got down to this level, no doubt about it, I'm in it. And then the next one, CRFT, Kraft. Now, look at this. Now, this is kind of weird. Kraft is a recent spinoff, right? They changed their symbol, CRFT, and my chart's kind of new because it's really kind of a new stock for the last 4 months. But definitely already acting like a good stock. You have a couple pivot areas. A recent, you have 3 pivots, 1, 2, 3, just bounced off the 4. This flag represents a good breakout area. So I'd watch this as this trade, a breakout of above 56.30. 56.30 would be a breakout play on Kraft, 56.30. So mark that down. Looks like an easy setup. I think this one's going higher. For whatever reason, it ends up coming down to this level. You don't break out. You just actually come down to this level. Well, you have a golden opportunity down here, and this will eventually end up being on the alerts on the HPS setups too. All right, so this is just another good level. Multiple triggers The breakout trigger, 56.30. The pullback trigger, probably about 51.50 to 50.50. About $1 range down here. Do we get down there? No. We're going to take this one out on 56.27. Definitely going higher on this one. Craft. And did I talk Marathon Petroleum yet? I think we talked about that earlier. Again, here's a good example of that Marathon Petroleum breakdown to the 20, coming down to the underlying trend line, 1, 2, 3 pattern. Already got a nice candlestick. We already talked about that one. Going into next week and going into Friday, I would say the best bets going into those levels: Clorox CLX, Kraft, KRFT, and CF Industries. All these are looking to prime time. MasterCard, MA, and followed up, bringing up the rear is MPC. I think it's a little more risky, but the Marathon Petroleum MPC, which you're seeing right here, nice candlestick, just about off the lower trend line. I think we were close enough on that trigger. We're oversold on the daily, and we're oversold. Well, we're starting to move up on the 60, so it does look bullish going into possibly even tomorrow, Friday. Now, I want to wish everyone a happy 4th of July. If you celebrate, I can't wait to get back. And I'm psyched. And big shout out to Paul and everyone who's helping out, with the site as I have a little vacation here with the family. I really appreciate it. I know it's never really a vacation when you're dealing with the markets and it's something you do for a living, but it feels good. So everyone have a great 4th of July, and I'll talk to you guys maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I will see you guys. Maybe not. I don't know. I do have a trip up into the mountains, but I know have to get up here at 6 o'clock in the morning. So maybe early morning I'll see you in the chat room. Maybe not. But have a great trading end of the week, and see you next week.